Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So, big news, I'm getting into canoe tripping. Went out, got myself a canoe, a bag, and pretty much everything else is stuff that I already had ready to go. But yeah, I'm excited to get into it, and I'm going to go over just what I decided for my canoe setup and kind of how I have my gear set up as my introduction to it. And then once I get a couple more videos in of actually using the gear and everything, hopefully I can get more in depth and dial in what I bring on my trips, and I'll be able to share that with you guys. So yeah, stick around and we'll hit it right now. Okay, so first off, I want to tell you why I kind of decided to get into canoe tripping. I've always liked fishing. In fact, I started out fishing before I started into backpacking and hot tent camping and all that. So, I kind of haven't been into it as much lately due to my backpacking and hot tenting, pretty much because I just don't have the time to do everything that I want to do out in the woods. So, recently I decided, you know what, it would be nice to combine my fishing with my backpacking, and ultimately I decided the best way to do that would be to get a canoe. I thought about doing an ultralight rod and one that breaks down, and then bringing that with me on my backpacking trips to go find streams or something like that, but I never really was into stream fishing. Don't have those skills built up over the years, so I didn't want to kind of throw that in. So I decided I'll take to the water and do what I know better, which is fishing from a boat. For the canoe, I went with the Swift Cruiser 14.8. The reason I went with the Swift 14.8 is I thought it would be something that would allow me to be quick on the water, also be quick and ultralight on my portages, and then I also needed it to be something that would be a dual blade paddle system because I'm used to kayaks and I'm not really wanting to get into traditional canoeing. I would rather stick with what I know, which is kayaking, but have it basically be an open kayak for my gear and such. So this was the one that I decided to go with after testing out quite a few models that kind of ticked those boxes. This was the one that felt the best to me. So I'll give a review on this after, probably after a year or so using it. All right, so the canoe is rigged up right now, how I would portage with it. And that's kind of what I was going to go over. So I have a lot of these little, I forget what they're called, but little tie-down things here. And then what I did is I put my Crocs in the back along with this. Obviously, this will come off from back here when I'm fishing or when I hit the water. And then I just tie my my kayak paddle. And I went with a transducer arm back here. And I actually have it tied down so that way it will be there and I don't have to take it off the boat ever. I can just leave it on there. As you come forward, you'll see I have two rod holders, and they're kind of on there with these Scotty mounts. It's on the track system, and then these actually come right off if I want them to come off. And then I went with the Garmin. This fish finder is kind of just the most widely used and the most ultralight for canoe and ultralight setups. I mean, this thing weighs like less than a pound. All of my fishing equipment altogether, including tackle and everything, weighs about 5 pounds. That's including the rod holders and everything, and the battery. So then I have my fishing rods right here. I just tie them down around the thwart and then up there. Up front I have an extra hammock strap actually around this. A lot of guys use some sort of string or rope or whatever to keep their canoe tied when they want it tied, and they also use it to hold onto when they're portaging. And I wanted something that would have dual purposes. So if something breaks out there with my hammock setup, now I have a spare, and it's not just extra weight. It's being used for something else right now. I even have the Dutchware clip on there, just in case. So that's kind of the canoe setup. Let's move on to the bag. So I went with Seal Line as my bag. It's got all these tie downs. It's got plenty of handles and ways to hold on to this besides just putting it on around you as a strap. You can actually take these off and even simplify the design if you really wanted to. But what's nice is it's a zip setup, and this is completely waterproof. And it's all kind of stacked in here pretty nice. And what my plan is depending on how well this sits in the water with the bag completely full, I have a second Seal Line bag in here that's got my heavier stuff like my food, and a chair is actually in here as well. And what I can do is just take that out when I get to the portage, or when I'm done with the portage and I get into the water. The idea would be take this out, re-zip this up, and I would place this in the back of the canoe and this in the front of the canoe, and that would hopefully even out my weight distribution. I don't know if it's going to be necessary, to be honest, so I may just keep it simple and keep everything together in one bag and put it right behind my seat. I don't know yet, but I wanted to have that option in case I found that it was needed. So let me give you a little closer look of what's inside here real quick. So for my bag, I have this Seal Line bag fits right here in the middle, as you saw when I pulled that out. But then also, the way I have this set up is I have my straps. I have my straps and my tarp right here. Right next to that is my stakes. This is a bag with all sorts of stuff in it, but primarily clothes at the bottom, and then, things like a battery and, all my incidentals, basically. And then this is my fishing equipment. I limited myself to just one 7200 Plano box. And then all the way at the bottom is my hammock and my quilts. Now this bag will get smaller as the season goes on, because right now I've got my my shoulder season equipment in there, and it's pretty beefy for keeping me warm at night. And then I'm going to bring my Boreal 21 saw, and of course right now I have my axe in there as well. So that's kind of what I have in my bag. On the outside of the bag, I have my traditional smart water bottle. I've got a seat pad that I'll just be putting on there. It weighs nothing, so I'm just going to bring it. And then last but not least is my my shell. So I have pants and a jacket to keep me from getting wet when it starts raining out. All right. Last but not least is a Stolquist. I forget, it's like their fishing line or something like that. But the primary focus of what I'm wearing is to have what I want on my person for fishing. So this has some soft plastics in this spot, and then I have some line for my FG knots that I'll be putting on my braided line that is on my poles. This to cut line real easy, and then obviously you got to have some pliers. I was going to bring some fishing pliers, but really I think just having just having this Leatherman should work just as well as having my fishing pliers with me, and it also gives me all these other tools on it that I'll be able to use. So, and then I also decided to bring this fanny pack with me. I use it for backpacking, and it's been really helpful. Usually I wear it around camp when I'm backpacking, but I'll probably be wearing it in the canoe while I'm paddling. And what's nice is this holds, some little things. I got my filter on there, some sunscreen, little odds and ends, a lighter in there, things like that. And then this main pouch is pretty much empty, besides a headlamp in case I need it. And then this is for ticks. It's just on there, but and then any sort of other gear, fishing equipment, soft plastics, whatever I want can go into this main pouch and make it accessible while I'm paddling out there. So. Alright guys, so that's the gear I got. I know it was a quick kind of just overview. I can get into more details, but I kind of want to wait till I get a couple adventures in to really make sure that this worked out the way I had envisioned it would. So trip's coming up pretty soon. If you haven't, like, subscribe, so that way you'll be able to watch the adventures when they come out. I'm excited, guys. Let's go.